Hello. If you're like me, you're concerned about home defense and the proper ray gun you should use for home defense. This you might recognize as based on the beautiful steampunk ray gun design from Dr. Grordbort, designed by Greg Broadmoor from WETA Workshop. And this one is actually modified and painted by, we're back in the shop, of Ryan Nagata. Ryan, we have a ray gun collection here that is just absolutely unbelievable. We're going to spend some time talking about it, but let's start with this one. How did this one come to be?
Several years ago on the RPF, WETA was doing a custom ray gun contest because they have their Dr. Grordbort's line, and this was their first like mass-produced gun. It was called the Righteous Bison.
Okay.
And they sold some unpainted ones, and RPF members could buy them and customize them for a contest.
I can't believe I didn't know about this. Somehow this passed me by.
It was very exciting.
Yeah.
For the time that it was up. So this is the version that I did, which actually won.
Oh, you won the contest with
Greg
this?
chose this as the winner.
That's amazing.
But I made this gun, and it was kind of inspired by World War I type of stuff, because I noticed that Peter Jackson and WETA, they do a lot of World War I inspired things. And it's done in the style of that universe.
Okay.
Not exactly steampunk, there's some kind of diesel punky stuff.
Is this the very first? Is this the very first ray gun you built?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I had made many before I'd done that.
Oh, and you made these?
Oh, yeah.
Are these bullets for it, or some?
Well, the idea is they're kind of like rifle grenades that you could stick on the front. You know, the thing about that contest was everybody was posting their entries, and I'd made the gun, and people were like getting really elaborate with it, and I was like, I should do something else to really kick it over the top. So then I had the idea that it would have like these rifle grenades that you could stick on the front.
A beautiful elaboration on it. I love the. Did you do the graphics yourself in Photoshop?
Yeah, and then aged it with like spray paint and coffee and things.
Okay, the yellow. Now this is the one that's based on the Righteous Bison, but these other four are your design. Am I correct?
Yeah, these are all original designs. I've just always had a thing for ray guns, and I had no particular reason to make any of them. Actually, that yellow one, I did a Kickstarter once, and it was like an incentive. And so I made a bunch of these.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
really
cool.
The rest of them were not made for any particular reason, except I just felt like making like 50s kind of style ray guns.
Now, when you're making these, what is the process? What are the materials? Is this all found objects? Are you casting stuff? What's going on?
Well, this is based on like was like a bubble gun, like one of those kids bubble toys. I think the actual circles in there are from that, but nothing else. And then from that, I just kind of elaborated and added this stuff.
Are you using some model kit parts? Where are you finding these tiny hexes? How do you?
Oh, those came from Kitcraft in LA.
Oh.
They're like it's a store in LA. It's a great hobby store. But they're like tiny brass bolts that I guess it's for like modeling like tanks and stuff like that. And so there's that. This little glass thing. Yeah. I think that was a piece of jewelry originally that I saw at a farmer's market. Like somebody was selling these like scientific glass bubbles with colored alcohol in them. So I just like collected parts. Like I think that crystal is something I bought from like a rock shop.
All right. Now, is each one you're playing around with different genres? Do you sketch these before you build them, or is it sort of free form?
I'll usually start with a sketch, but not that detailed. Like just kind of the general idea. There's a lot of plumbing parts on there. I think this is a found part. It looks like some kind of oil filter or something.
Yeah. Do you know about the group Sync Tube Jedi? It's all guys who make lightsabers out of plumbing parts.
I remember that.
It's a lovely convention because there's a lot of inspiration to be gotten at the hardware store.
Oh yeah. Like every prop geek, I go to the hardware store and they always ask, "What are you looking for?"
Right.
Like, well, you couldn't really help me.
Or you go, "Do you have a chrome ring that's shiny about this big?" And then the guy goes, "No," and you're like, "You can't answer that fast. I haven't asked a specific question. I'm just going to go look in your plumbing department."
Right.
And then this last one seems to be, it's really almost like the Jetsons. You've gone with these much
is like
bigger
very
gestures.
like,
it's more cartoony.
Yeah, it's again, I wanted to make like something like 50s Cadillac kind of looking.
You succeeded entirely. I see these are hand machines. That stainless?
These are stainless washers, but this was before I had a mill or anything. I think I put these on the end of a power drill and just like sanded them so they would get that really nice finish.
Yeah. You've got radio tubes in here sitting in a...
Yeah, there's a place in LA called Apex Electronics that has a lot of vintage electronic stuff. It's like a junkyard, basically.
It sounds like LA is a great city to go part hunting for stuff like this.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of the prop houses, for Hollywood productions. I don't know so much anymore, but in the old days, they would just get all these electronic parts. Actually, Apex is where the guys who built the Ghostbusters proton pack hunted all the parts. So there was a time you could go there and find every part, but it's kind of been picked over now. But,
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Is there one of these that was the most difficult for you to complete? It gave you the most trouble to kind of get to where you wanted to get with it?
Well, probably the WETA one was the
WETA
most
one
difficult.
is just like a lot of work refining it and getting those details to where you wanted them?
Yeah, because there's a lot of details and there's a lot of just like hand-bent metal rods and stuff on there, which were kind of hard to fit.
And you've got the little brackets on there, which is also non-trivial.
Yeah, I think that was, I'm trying to remember.
Jeweler's pliers, something like that?
Yeah, I think that's just some K&S brass that was bent on there.
Is there one here that is your absolute favorite that like you'd save if there was a fire?
Well, I like that WETA one because of the story, but I think the blue one is probably my favorite.
You think it's the blue one?
I guess so, because it's just, I think it's the most iconic looking in some weird way. I don't know. It's also the one, I took pictures of these guns and I posted them online, and this particular gun, people have taken that picture and used it for all kinds of things. I see it in memes.
You've entered into the cultural lexicon by accident.
If you Google ray gun,
this is one of the results?
This will come up.
That's hilarious. You need to do a big blog post about it.
Yeah.
We got to bring it back so that people know that it's yours and that they should write your name on it. That you could get business making ray guns.
Yeah.
Do you have future plans for more?
Yeah, definitely. I want to make, people are always asking me for original ray gun things. So there's a couple of different original guns and also guns from other properties that I want to replicate. So.
From movies that you love.
Yeah.
I have a Forbidden Planet replica in my shop.
I used to have a Forbidden Planet ray gun replica, but
you traded it away?
I sold it. I'm always trying to thin down the collection so I can collect new things. But.
I'm never trying to thin down the collection. Ryan, thank you so much for showing me this amazing collection of work. It's beautiful. I'm Adam Savage from Tested. This is Ryan Nagata. See you guys later.